So this week's video is a 2017 Hyundai Elantra with an O2 sensor code that keeps coming back. It's got a rough idle / rough start condition that happens mainly on short trips, and I've replaced the O2 sensor twice in it. So I'm gonna just confirm that it is indeed the O2 sensor, and we're gonna try something different for it this time. So we're going to scan for our codes here, and I'm just using torque and an OBD2 adapter. And of course, right away it's coming up as the O2 sensor code. So it's pretty odd for an O2 sensor to continuously die, like I just did it 3 months ago. So I'm going to diagnose a bit farther. It could be a clogged injector, which would make it run or become worse on fuel, which the customer's not really noticing. Or it could be a dirty MAP sensor, so the manifold absolute pressure. On these Hyundais, they don't run a MAF or the mass airflow. They just use the manifold absolute pressure or the MAP sensor. So using this sensor clean, we can kind of clean it out, and hopefully that will solve our problem. So on these Hyundais, the sensor is in a terrible location. It's down beside the throttle body. Normally they're right on the manifolds in front where it's really easy to get at, but this one is down pretty far, so I'll show you right now. You have to go down and in, and it's this bottom connector. So in order to release that connector, you can use a screwdriver to kind of pry up in a little triangular piece, or if you can fit your hands in there, which I had to force them in, you can pull that connector off by pushing down on the tab, and that'll do it. The other thing you'll have is that sensor on top where you can see the wire going to. You're going to have to disconnect that in order to put some slack in the wiring harness in order to get this sensor out. So it's a 10mm bolt on the right, and you're just going to loosen that and take it out. And then for these sensors, I find it's the easiest to turn it maybe 45 degrees to break the O-ring seal, and then you can just pull it straight out. And as you'll see here, the sensor is pretty oily, which is kind of a condition of the PCV system. And you can also see the stick that's coming out of it. That's your air temp probe. And then there's a little hole in the back of the sensor, which is actually your pressure sensor. So we'll just take our cleaner and we're going to spray around the O-ring and everything just to blast any dirt off. And then we'll actually spray in the sensor and we'll spray the probe. So then once that's dry, air dried, you can take it and you can stick it back in. And again, I'm going to do the same thing where I put it in on an angle and then rotate it back to where the bolt will actually go into the hole and thread in, just so you can get a positive seal on that O-ring, because if you develop a leak, your engine's going to run lean just because there's more air getting into it than it thinks there is. So just make sure that it fully seats. It kind of clicks when it goes in. You can carefully thread your bolt back in, tighten it down, plug all your sensors back in, and take it for a test drive. So my customer did in fact take it for a test drive this weekend, and he reported, unfortunately, that the misfires had returned after about 50 kilometers. So we're going to look into either a new sensor or possibly another O2 sensor on a warranty, because we put a Bosch sensor in last time and they have a lifetime warranty. So we'll try another one of those, but if not, we may have to look into an injector possibly failing or an injector seal. Thanks for watching. That's it for this week. Again, this is kind of a pain job, but it's pretty easy once you get it out and clean it up. We'll see you next week.